There we go. Okay, here you go. I got you.
I think we got it. Okay. Thanks, Maggie. And I'm just going to admit now, I have the squeaky chair, so you're going to have to deal with the squeaks if you hear them, because I wiggle around a lot when I talk. So happy Wednesday, you guys. I'm super excited to be chatting with you tonight. I love Wednesday team call nights.
We did it. We did it.
We'll see if we can. I don't know. I think we got it. But okay, are we good? Okay. So I'm super excited to chat with you guys tonight. I love team call nights. I always feel like I get golden nuggets out of it. So I'm excited to share with you what's been on my heart and my mind lately. And honestly, through my entire Beachbody journey, just kind of continues to resurface and resurface again. And just in the last couple months, I finally had like a moment of like, oh, okay, this all makes sense. So I'm excited to share with you, and hopefully you guys walk away with some tidbits as well. But before I jump into all of it, I think it's important for me to share kind of my story and how I got started, because as Maggie had mentioned, I just recently made the switch from working very, very full-time to doing this coaching thing full-time. And so I just want you to have that background, so you're not thinking like, oh, she's home with the 3 kids and she's been doing this, so she's seasoned in this. I'm still establishing new routines. So let me give you the backstory first. So I have always been a healthy, fit person. It's honestly come pretty naturally to me and easy. I was always active in sports and all that stuff. I played competitive soccer all the way into college. I was even that really annoying person that lost all the baby weight after baby number 1 way too easy and way too fast. Like I felt bad because so many people didn't have that struggle. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm sorry. But it didn't happen that way with baby number 2. Not even close. And like I was running with the double stroller. I was trying everything I could and it just wasn't happening for me. And I found myself really unhappy with how I had gotten there. Like I didn't know how I'd gotten there, and I just felt frumpy and I felt like a sloth and I felt overwhelmed, and I had these 2 kids, and how am I supposed to get to the gym? Like what am I supposed to do? Because on top of feeling bleh, like out of my own skin, I was working a very, very, very full-time job. So as Maggie said, I was a full-time promotions and marketing director for a local radio station, which I loved. It was my dream job. I kind of worked my way up into it, and I got into the role pretty early. And so I got to really soak it all up. But outside the, 9 to 5 hours, so to speak, it was still a 24/7 job. Because with promotions and marketing, there's events, there's concerts, there's contests, there's listeners calling me for their prizes. There are account executives that need answers on promotions and events. There's stuff on the weekend. So it was a very, very taxing job, one that I love, but it was very full time. And then on top of that, my husband is in the military, and he was doing a 2.5-hour commute each way to his job, which was just bonkers. He would leave way early before any of us were up and got home just in time to have like 20 minutes with the kids in the evening. And it was so taxing, not only him with the commute, but on us, because I was living like single mom life. I didn't even have a moment to like debrief from work to mom mode because my kids were on campus with me. So literally it was like work 30 seconds, pick up kids. And it was like, whew, it was crazy. So life just felt like it was way insane. I didn't feel like I had time to get to the gym. I didn't even know where to start. And I just felt like crap. And I vividly remember sitting on a park bench on Mother's Day, and we were getting ready to take that like Mother's Day photo. And I remember so carefully positioning my boys on my lap to cover me up as much as I could. And that was my trigger day. That was the day that I was like, I have to figure this out because I cannot do this anymore. I feel like poo. And so I found Keisha. So Keisha and I actually knew each other from my first radio gig. She was finishing her internship for college, and we had stayed friends after that, just on social media, like peers, not more than that. But I saw her doing her at-home workouts and having success with it. Like she was getting toned, but more than that, she was having fun. And those of you who know Keisha, she's a very fun personality. But I needed that fun. If I was going to focus on me again and like really put the effort into my health and fitness, I needed fun. And so I knew I could get that out of her. So I was like, girl, hook me up. What are you doing? And so she got me plugged into her groups. I started out on the discount because, hi, bargain mom over here, 2 kids, like military family, give me the deals. And so she set me up with the discount, and I got in her challenge groups. In the first 2 months, it was like, I was loving it. I got back to my pre-weight. It was like competitive soccer body, like, woo, I was rocking it. And having so much fun. Like, I loved what it was doing for me, loved what it was doing for our family. And then I found out I was pregnant with baby number 3. So I was like, I guess it was working in a sense if that happened. But so pregnant with baby number 3. And at the same time, work had gone up another level for me. I took over the Austin radio station. So I was running marketing and promotions for both Seattle and Austin. And hubby had gotten a promotion in the military. So he was getting ready to travel a ton that year. So it would have been an easy opportunity for me to be like, look, I got a 3-year-old, a 1-year-old, I'm pregnant. Life is crazy. Like, self-care can go on the back burner for a while. But you guys, I was loving it so much, I didn't want to give it up. I was like, no, I have to stick this out. People were noticing the change in me. And so I was like, you know what, I'm in this. And I continued through my pregnancy. And it was in that same first trimester where I caught the vision. And I was like, maybe this Beachbody thing can actually be the solution. Like, maybe this can actually be what gets us out of this crazy whirlwind, which now looking back on it, I can say how crazy it was. But when we were in it, I just felt like we were going through the motions. Like, this is what busy people do, right? It was crazy. And so in first trimester, pregnant with had the 2 boys, hubby's getting ready to take off for work. I was like, okay, I'm doing this. I'm going to go all in. But how do I do it? I don't know what I'm doing. So of course, what do? I looked to my upline. I looked to Keisha, and I tried to like mimic and duplicate what she was doing. Which, you guys, Keisha and I are very, very different people. If you don't know Keisha, she lives in New York at the time. She has living in an apartment with her boyfriend. She recently got her cute little doggy, Lizzie, but she's doing this thing full time, like putting her hours into it. I'm in Seattle with 2 crazy, like testosterone-driven boys, like pregnant, hubby in the military. What the heck am I thinking with a full-time job? How was I supposed to try and coach like Keisha coaches? Like, can anyone try to explain to me why I thought that was possible? So I literally racked my brain for a while, like longer than I probably should have. But then I finally came to my senses, and I was like, if I'm going to make this work, I've got to make it work my way. So I did. And I started doing my business hustle on my lunch breaks. Like, literally, I felt like that was the only window of time I had to give to it. So I would literally, at lunch, get my phone and my license, my phone, and a notepad, and I would get in my car and I would drive off campus, because if I didn't, people would literally knock on my window, my car window, to get a question answered. Like, I was needed for so many questions, it was ridiculous. So I literally drove off campus, got out of the way, had my list of names of people I was going to touch base with that day, like my hey girls, my invites, all of that. Boom, 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 knocked it out, checked in with my challengers, ate my food, 40 minutes, went back and got to work. And that is what I did for the majority of my 2+ years coaching. It was a 40-minute block hustle window. So I say all that because then hubby and I, came for a full circle this last year, and we're like, maybe we can actually do this. Like, have this vision, like what we feel like God's calling us to do, happen. So in December, we made the move, and hubby has a much more normal commute now. It's like 20 minutes, and he's actually home with the family, which is awesome. And I'm getting to be home with the babes and doing this full coach thing full time. Still trying to figure it all out. It's because it's a whole new routine, but we did it. So I say all that to say 2 things. One, I'm figuring out what this new thing is, and we'll get into like the rules of the road here in a minute. But 2, if you are a mom or busy or feel like you've got other responsibilities, but you're trying to figure out how to get this business off the ground, like, leave your questions at the end. We'll figure them out, or call me offline and we'll figure it out. But you can do it. I'm saying that, like, my life is bonkers. You can do it. So now that you have all the backstory, because it's going to come up a little later, tonight we're getting into a little driver's education review. Yay! Okay, so I'm not a huge car person, so I have no idea where this theme came from. Literally, I have no idea, but it just kind of seemed to work and kind of kept coming back to what I was working with. Maybe my kids playing with Hot Wheels and trucks and construction all the time. I don't know, but we're sticking with the car theme. It's what we're going with, cars and journeys. So to get things started, I want you guys to all participate in a little a little activity here. So get your hot hands ready or your vicious head nods, like whatever you want, whatever's your style. But I want you guys to all participate and tell me, have you ever got caught in the comparison game? And I'll give you a couple examples. Like, did you ever say, she does this full time, so of course she can succeed. Or like, she has a story to share, so of course people are gonna wanna like follow her. Or like, hot dang, she has a physical transformation, like people are gonna wanna know what she's doing. Or one that I really fell victim to, she's a natural extrovert. This is so easy for her, right? Everyone, I'm guessing, has been there at some point in their business. And I actually had this experience that we're having now together in person, which we'll get to at a new leaders conference last month, which kind of brought me to this like team call topic. So what we would call that in the driving world, what you're like doing the coach watching, so to speak, that's called distracted driving, right? That would totally be distracted driving, which is the single greatest contributor to accidents, violations, injuries, bad things happening on the road is distracted driving. The car you're driving, totally fine. Could be new, could be old, but it's probably doing just fine. The roads are in good condition. Unless you're in Seattle, they might be a little shaky, but we won't go there. Usually everything in your environment is totally fine. It's the driver that's causing the accident. So in your business career, what is causing you to be distracted? That's what we're gonna dive into because it's your biggest risk. So we're gonna figure out what it is for you. So there's a couple different distracted driving types that we're gonna talk about. One is your focus and dedicated invite business time. Do you have it? Like, or do you have Bachelor on in the background and it's getting you like, are you not as efficient you could be? Or are you trying to multitask with personal development and invites at the same time? I can tell you how that one ends because I have done it. You're going to get to the end of chapter 2 and you're going to be like, what did she just say? You're not going to know. So don't try it. It doesn't work. Multitasking doesn't happen. So that is one type of distracted driving. There's also the why not me syndrome, kind of like what we talked about before with the, well, why is she having success and I can't have success? And I want to take a minute and flip that whole why not me coin on its side and give you the story of where I got this whole topic from. So as I mentioned, last month, I got to attend New Leaders Conference with a couple of the other ladies on the Team Fit Foundation team. And it was actually my first Beachbody event. I'd never gone to a Beachbody event before. And so I will do a little plug here. Like if you get the opportunity to go to Summit or Success Club trip, whatever it might be, go. Because I guarantee you will have at least one aha moment. And if you're wanting to make strides in your business, it'll happen. So go to a Beachbody event if you can. So let me take you to New Leaders Conference. We're all getting settled in to the ballroom like we're for the next session. And there's probably about like 500, 700 of us in the room. And someone's on stage and they ask for a show of hands. How many of you are working full time? Like outside of Beachbody, how many of you are working full time? And I kid you not, like 85% of the room rose their hands. I was like, okay, let me put their hands down. And then they said, how many of you are moms? 50 or 60% at least raised their hands, you guys. Some of them had newborns there, which I was like, you are crazy sauce. But to me, that was awesome because I had just, become a full-time coach, thinking it was going to be like, easy, no problem. I don't need to like pay attention to any guidelines. No, that's not true. And I got in this funk of like, maybe I'm not cut out for this. Like, I can't do this. My life is too hectic with 3 kids, blah, blah, blah. Like, I can't do it. You guys, these people in this room were doing it and they have full-time jobs and they have kids. Their life is just as crazy. They probably got other things going on. So that why not me moment was not a like, poor me. Why not me? It was like, okay, why not me? Excuses in the window. Bye-bye. I can do this. I can show up. So I say all that to say, distracted driving, no more. Don't do it. No more coach looking. Put your blinders on and stay in your lane. So we're going to go through 4 rules of the road tonight because there's actually more to being a successful coach, tips that you can do outside of just distracted driving. And I'll name them off and then we'll kind of break them out. So rule 1, planning your trip. This is going to be fun, guys. Rule 2, know what kind of vehicle you are. I love the giggles. This is great. Rule 3, blind spots. And rule 4 is span of your control, okay? So now we will go back up. So rule 1, plan for your trip, AKA self-care. I know you guys are like, oh, we hear this all the time. It's so redundant. I know. I need to take care of myself. But you guys, it's important. It starts with you. Like, have you ever set out for a destination? You got in your car and you're heading somewhere and you look at the fuel gauge and you're like, I don't know if I have enough gas. I don't know if I'm going to make it. I can tell you that happened far too many times for me in college, and my buddy Nick had to pick me up on the side of the road more than a few times. So step 1, have fuel in the tank. But honestly, like, are your brakes working? Are your mirrors in place? Like, do you have air in the tires? Are you functioning to take the journey? Because if you're not, you are not going to be able to help other people. You're going to be stuck on the side of the road hoping someone will come and rescue you. So self-care is so important. And the reason why I say that is because this vehicle is not just for your Beachbody journey. It's your vehicle in life. So if you have other responsibilities, whether it be kids, whether it be your full-time job, life events that come up, you better hope that vehicle can get you to the destination. So make sure that you're taking care of yourself, okay? So silly reminder perhaps, but also think about this. How often do you get stuck chasing a goal for your business and think, oh, I'm just going to nix the workout today or nix the personal development because I really need to get caught up on this goal. And then it doesn't happen. And then it's this negative Nancy spiral and you're just feeling like crap and it's bad domino effect, right? How often do you do that? Don't do that. It starts with you. Okay. So prepare for your journey. Rule 1. Get off my little spirit box there for a minute. Rule 2. Okay. So this is where I feel like it comes back to my story. Know the car you're driving. Okay. All right. So are you a Camaro? Camaros, they are built for speed and they like to go fast, like fast lane, see in the rearview mirror, right? When I think of a Camaro, and this is just me like thinking ideas, I'm not trying to pinpoint one person or one culture, anything like that. Camaro could be a younger person just starting out. Maybe they have a typical 9 to 5. So they have a specific time that they can do Beachbody business, right? Or like health and fitness has always come easy for them. Like they don't even have to work for it. Or they naturally like healthy foods already. Or the weight came off like lickety split for them, right? These are the Camaros. Like it's just easy. In business, maybe they like get challengers to join them left and right. There's no financial hurdles. There's no Shakeology objections, nothing like that. Like it's just easy. They get them. That's good. Camaros are awesome. I love Camaros. I've never been in one, but I love them. You're great. Okay. Then there's minivans. Minivans are important too. They are known to carry lots of people, or maybe not a minivan, like or a GMC Acadia with 3 rows over here. Vehicles that carry people from one point to the other, right? When I think of those people, I think of the people who have like relationships are really needing to nurture, right? Maybe someone's working through an emotional struggle or battle or something like that. Or like for me right now, I feel like I'm working with a lot of moms post-baby who just want me back. And that, like, not to be rude, but that comes with some baggage a lot of times. A lot of baggage you have to like work through, and it's hard work, but like minivans are necessary, right? They're for the long haul. You want to be cozy in your long trip across country. So there's Camaros and there's minivans. They both have value, but they're built differently. They're built for different things, and their maintenance plan is very, very different. And the reason why I say this comes back to my story is because I think about Keisha and I. We're not the same make, model, or year. Not even close. So why I thought I should do the same thing as her is just crazy. We both have value, and we both make impact on lives. That's what's so great about Beachbody. But we are so different on what we do, how we're made, and who we're attracting, right? So just remember what the vehicle is that you are driving. That being said, I don't want you to think the vehicle you're driving dictates the lane you're driving in. It doesn't. Minivans can go in the fast lane. They can. I just made the switch to the fast lane. I did. So, but before I made that switch to the fast lane, I had to check for gaps and make sure I was safe to do it, right? Like hubby and I, when we first started thinking, okay, you know, like maybe we could really do this. Maybe I could do this full time and I could be home with the kids. But you bet your bum, we were like cautious about it. Like financially, how are we going to get there? So I had to hustle. I did those crazy Power 40s, which were awesome for me. And they got me like up to speed so we can make that jump. But you have to check for gaps. But you can make the change from middle lane to fast lane if you want. And I'm still a minivan, or I'm still a GMC Acadia. Camaros can be in the fast lane and maybe have a life event or something like new baby, whatever it might be. Maybe you've been going super fast. I need to slow down for a little bit. You can. Camaros can go in the chill lane too. It's okay. So don't think the vehicle that you are dictates the lane that you're driving in. Okay. Rule 3, just speaking of lane change, gap, all that stuff. Know, or better yet, learn your blind spots, okay? So blind spots are things that we don't know that others do. And sometimes they can be really big, and that means they're even more dangerous. So it's important that we figure out what those blind spots are, but it's hard because it's like, they're blind spots. We don't know what they are. So a couple of blind spots that could be for our business that I wanted to use. One is going it alone. So like not leaning into your coach community, thinking you have it all figured out, you know what you're doing, don't need any tips on objections, whatever it might be. I mean, if that's you, more power to you, but that could be a blind spot. 2, not truly understanding the impact you have on others, either good or bad. So think about how you are responding to potential challengers in your messages, or like your downline or other coaches in the business, right? Like every conversation you have is going to be impactful, either good or bad. Might want to figure out how yours are going. 3, avoiding the difficult conversations. I think a lot of people do these with potential customers, downline coaches, struggle buses, whatever it might be. Sometimes I think we tend to avoid the hard conversations. That could be a blind spot. Blaming others or circumstances. Enough said. Everyone knows what that means. I think it happens a lot too. Treating commitments casually. Okay, you guys, this is a business. If you are here, you're showing up because you're wanting to make strides in your business potentially. I would hope you are. You don't treat it casually. If you have a new onboarding coach, meet up with them, like take care of them. If you have downline that's pushing your challengers, I hope you're checking into your challenge group at least once a day. I hope, because they need you. They signed up with you. They're trusting you. So treating commitments casually could definitely be a blind spot. We want to get that fixed. And then lastly, tolerating good enough. Like how often do we like get to the end of the month and we're like, it's good enough. It wasn't your goal. You didn't get there, but you just said, it's good enough. Like, don't do that. So that could be a blind spot too. So the more you can learn about your blind spots, the better you can be. But remember, they're blind to us. It's like, how am I supposed to figure out? Like, great preaching, Camille, but what am I doing? So here's a few things that you can do to fix it. 1, lean into your upline if you can. If you have an upline that's open to you, that is awesome. If you don't, find a success partner that can be forthright and honest with you and tell you what your blind spots are, and be willing to hear them out because it's only helping you. 2, personal development. Do it. Lean into your personal development. Work. Don't just like, yes, it's good. Any kind of personal development is good, but don't just work on the fluff that you already know. Dig into stuff that makes you flustered. What's the areas of growth that you need? Pick those. And if you don't know, like if you don't know books, again, ask your coach, ask somebody around you, a success partner, somebody that can help you. And then lastly, join a business building group that pushes you to grow. So if you're not plugged into one and you're trying to figure out how to make this coaching thing happen, get plugged into a business pushing group. There's tons of them out there. Okay. So it's going to help you become a better, more aware driver. And if you do ever want to make that lane change into the fast lane, it's going to help you get there more smoothly and hopefully avoid any collisions, right? So then there are the things that are uncontrollable. These are the things that like you don't know about and I don't know about. And that is problematic. It's a big, big bummer. And that brings us to rule 4, which is span of your control. Here's the thing. If it's not in your lane, if it's not in your control, you can't do anything about it. I know, it stinks. I hate that. I wish I could control everything in the universe, but I can't. So if you get wrapped up in things that you can't control, it's going to drive you nuts. So here's my driving analogy. I think hopefully you guys will just stick with me. Okay, think about it. When you're driving on the road, are you worried about the pistons going out? I don't even know what pistons are, but I know cars have them. So the thing is, when we're driving, we're thinking we're in control of the steering wheel, the brakes, our focus, and our mind. The thousands or 10,000s or whatever other many parts there are in a car that could go wrong is not in our control. And do you know, like, not to make you a paranoid driver, but can you imagine if you were driving down the road thinking of all of those parts and like, what if they go out? Dude, you would go nuts. You would be so distracted. So don't worry about things that are outside of your control. An example of this in coaching, I'm going to use my March since we're in March business for you. So I was like set to hit Success Club like right out the gate. I felt really good about it. I had tons of new gals who were so excited. We've been talking. They had their links to get their challenge packs. They were ready to do an 80-day obsession with me. Like literally gals that were like in the checkout and saying, oh, it's asking for your coach ID. What's your coach ID? Like literally we were there. And then all of a sudden there's foreclosures, 2 car accidents, a new surprise adoption baby, which is awesome, a new house, a new car, and a surprise loss of a job. Like, that's a lot. Is any of that in my control? None of it. Here's the thing. I could let that drive me nuts and totally, like, give me an excuse to be like, March stinks. Like, I can't do March. Or I could keep going, right? It's not in my control. Don't let things that you don't own control you. You can't, let it go. Leave it. So for those of you who like to be in control as much as you can and realize that's not an opportunity, here are some steps to help de-stress about those situations. So 1, determine what you can control, right? It sounds really, really like cliche and silly, but think about it. Focus where you're putting your energy, and I promise you, you will be more effective. If you truly focus on what you can control instead of all of the garbage, you're gonna be more effective. Don't think about the lanes next to you. Okay, 2, identify your fears. I think so often we get caught up in the like worst case scenario syndrome when really the worst case scenario rarely happens, but we get so caught up in it that we forget to think about like well, what if the worst case scenario happens? What would I do? Like when I'm driving, maybe this is me being the overthinker, like paranoid person, but like I think about earthquakes and telephone lines coming to the ground and like, what are you supposed to do in those situations? Or if there's a fire on the side of the street, like all of those things, do you have a plan? Have you thought it through, like what you would do if the worst case scenario happened? I guarantee you are probably mentally stronger to get through it. It might be difficult at first, but you can get through it. So rather than concentrate on the worst case scenario, identify what your biggest fears are and have a solution. Like be ready, be prepared for them. Concentrate on your influence. Okay. You can't force things to go your way, but you have a strong influence. Yep. You're going to get stuck in traffic. There's going to be a bottleneck at an on-ramp. I hate those. I really hate those. I'm like, is there ever a solution? Anyway, bottleneck at an on-ramp. There's an accident ahead. All of them are so stinking frustrating and they're outside your control. But what you can do to make it better, this is going to sound really silly, but in the driving world, like taking care of your vehicle and being a wise driver, because so many people are so distracted about what's going on in the moment, then they're not focusing. Take care of you, be that one different person, smile, because how many times they're like grumpy drivers in that situation, smile, let the crazy guy in first. It's not the end of the day. You're both are moving at a snail's pace. Just let him in and be patient. I know it sounds also silly, but in driving world, do you know if like one person saw you doing it, it's a positive domino effect. It will make a difference. So just control what you can control. And then the last one is replay versus problem solving. So let's say you got an offender bender yesterday. Hopefully you didn't. I'm hoping I'm not using somebody's like real life example. Maybe you got an offender bender yesterday. Was it your fault? Was it theirs? Maybe you're like noodling it around in your head. Or we could talk about business. Maybe you had a potential challenger conversation yesterday that just didn't go well. It went south. Just replaying it in your head is not going to help. It's not. But if you decide to problem solve, think it through, and come up with a solution, so next time you have that objection, which will happen, you're better for it and you know how to handle it differently. Same thing with like a fender bender. If it was, it was your fault. Maybe you were following them too close. I don't know. But you learn from it. Be problem solving. Be proactive. So if you're seeking solutions already, good for you. Keep that up. Always prevent the problems and increase your chances for success next time. If you feel like you're in the replaying your mistake mode and beating yourself up for it, I'm going to tell you, acknowledge that that isn't helpful. And get involved in an activity that get away from that for a moment and get in an activity that takes your mind off it to be more productive, because it's not helping you. So at the end of the day, there's tons that is outside of our control. And you've got to learn to let all of that go so you can be your most productive and influence the most amount of people in a positive way. Because really, that's what we're called to do, right? We're here to help people. So don't let the out of control stuff bother you. So those are my 4 rules of the road I wanted to talk about tonight. And the main reason being why is because it has resurfaced and resurfaced for me again and again. in the last few months as I kind of transitioned from like doing the side hustle to full-time mode. And I think, it initially came up when I was pushing for Diamond, right? When I was back in the first trimester with my third pregnancy and thinking like, okay, I see the vision, I want to do this. I had to really after I figured out me and Keisha were different vehicles, I really had to hold on to those like rules of the road, put my blinders on and do it. Like I just had to keep them in the forefront of my mind so I could get there. And guess what? I got there. And did I stop? No, I celebrated for a moment and then I kept going. So guess what? Those rules of the road still apply. Just like driving laws, they're always going to be there. They're there as guidelines for a reason. So don't think that you're just going to get to a destination and like not have to worry about them anymore. And that's honestly what I did in December when I became a full-time coach. I was like, great, I can do this all the time. You're going to have no problem. No, Camille, you still have rules of the road that are going to help you be successful and you got to keep moving. And I actually had that like second aha moment when we went to New Leaders Conference. In between the sessions, we had an opportunity to chat with some of the coaches who were speaking on stage. And one of them, Kim, I can never say her last name, Fitzpatrick. Okay, anyway, she was one of the speakers and she was sitting in that seat 1 year prior, had just hung up her cleats at her corporate job and decided to go full-time. And now she was speaking on stage as a top 10, at least an elite coach, right? So I had just run into her in the hallway and like chit-chatting, which was great to have them like be on the same like level and lovey-dovey with us, which was awesome. But I asked her, I was like, because that was recently me, right? Like I had just left my job and now I'm figuring out like, what did you do differently? And so I asked her like, well, what do you feel like was the like game changer for you? And she said, I put my head down and I did my work. That's all she said. I was like, okay, noted, got it. So I just felt like all of this kind of kept resurfacing and I figured it all out. But I do want to end with, throughout the whole night, we've talked about how rules of the road are helping you get to your end destination, right? Getting you there safely. But the thing is, there is no end destination. Like I kind of like to think of it as a journey across the country. And I keep coming up with this analogy. My grandparents right now, they're so stinking cute. They're 75 and they're doing this like motorcycle adventure across the country right now, like going to all, I think the libraries, American libraries or something like that. Really, really cute. Anyway, it's like they get to their destination, they soak it up and they enjoy it, but then they're back on the road. And they're following the laws, the driving laws and getting to their next destination and the next one and the next one and the next one. So I say that like there's no end destination with your Beachbody career. You just keep going. You keep pushing. Like if you hit your 2018 crazy Beachbody goal today, does that mean you're not going to show up tomorrow? No, otherwise you wouldn't be on this call or watching the playback later. Like you're going for the next big thing, right? You're going to figure out what your next goal is, your next destination. So while you're on the road, soak it up, enjoy it, enjoy the journey, but just drive safely. That's all I'm asking. And you'll get there much more efficiently and much quicker. So that's what I got for you tonight. Hopefully it's helpful. I don't know how to do
Oh
it.
my goodness, that was so amazing. I was like writing down so many notes. Who else was writing down so many notes? That was me. Oh my goodness. Does anyone have any questions while we still have her live? If not, she said you could reach out to her and I'm sure she'd be happy to talk to you.
This isn't a question, but I just want to tell you that you're friggin' adorable and I'm obsessed with you.
Thank you. I did have like one last, if no one has questions, I had one thought earlier and maybe I'm just crazy, but I love these calls because they pump me up and I get like a little adrenaline kick out of it. But then my biggest fear is that people get off the call and they're like, okay, yeah, I'll apply what I do tomorrow. And then they don't have the adrenaline rush tomorrow. And I'm thinking, you guys, it's the last week of the business month. So like we're ending a little early. Like go take 10 minutes and see what you can do and tackle it. And then like send your upline a message and be like, this is what I did. This is what I accomplished. Because how cool is that? Like feed off the adrenaline, have some fun. Hopefully you have some adrenaline. If you're not, I failed. But yeah, get to work. See what you can do,
Yay. Thank you so much. I'm sure if anyone has any questions, they'll reach out to you and that's such good advice. So let's go run off that adrenaline. Yay! Thank you.
Bye, ladies.
Bye.